And I'll go first. I'll just simply open up with a statement that a degree can either help you or it can hurt you. There's really no single answer for everyone, and it's all context dependent. What do you think about my opening statement?
Yeah, I think that's a great statement. I get a lot of questions from people on, certs versus degrees, or do you really even need a degree? Can you just, jump in and do it without a degree? And really, what I tell people is it depends. And I know that's everybody's favorite answer that most lawyers will give you. It depends. I come from a family of lawyers, so I'm used to saying it depends. And really, it comes down to what job is it you're targeting? What sector are you in? And where are you located in the world? And so I think we're going to talk a little bit about that as we go through today
Yeah.
about where is the value in this college degree, and there's different value at different levels, right? Because, here in the United States, where we primarily focus is US and Canada, really it's most people come out of high school, they get 12 years of education, kindergarten through 12th grade, and then they can go off to community college, which is a 2-year program, or to a university for a 4-year program. And if they do the community college, they'll get an associate's degree. If they go to a regular 4-year university, you'll get a bachelor's degree. And then you can go for another 2 years and get a master's degree. And then if you want to do another, 2 or 3 years, you can get a PhD and become a doctor. And I've seen people make the mistake of over degreeing themselves. I had a friend used to say, that guy's got more degrees than a thermometer. And you don't want that person on your team necessarily, right? And so depending on the job, there's places that would say, I want somebody who has a PhD. And there's other places that go, you have a PhD? Forget it. I don't need you. You're way
Right.
overqualified for this.
Yeah.
And so I think we need to kind of break that down as we go through, where is it important? What type of positions are important? And where are you going to kind of hit the level where you need a degree to get to the next step? And there are places where you can get a lot of jobs without a degree. And there's places you're going to kind of hit the ceiling and no one's going to let you get to the next level until you get that bachelor's degree
That's
or
right.
until you get that master's degree or
Mhm.
possibly even that PhD, depending on the job. And so I
Yeah.
think it's important we talk about that.
Mhm. Yeah, it is. A lot of people who are new to this whole thing have kind of bought into a dominant theme in the United States, and I'm sure that this is probably also a theme in many other countries. But in the U.S., there's this sort of overwhelming narrative that says if you go to college and get a bachelor's degree, that's a guaranteed ticket to the middle class. And and maybe that thinking is kind of eroding a little bit, but I still see people acting that out, right? They're walking
Yeah.
out that belief, even though there's a little bit of cognitive dissonance. But I just want to say point blank that that's not true for cybersecurity. Like there's no guarantee like that. It's not a default thing. So let me just take a step back and tell you that I believe that a college degree is just a tool in your toolbox. Some people are going to have that in their toolbox. Some people won't. Because here's the thing, hiring managers want two things from people on their team, right? The first thing is they want you to be as useful as you can be on day one, right? Like how fast
Definitely.
can you start to make a difference? That's the first thing. And the second thing they want to see is that you've got passion for the job, that you're engaged, that there's a high level of engagement between you and the work that you're doing. And so if a college degree, if a university degree helps you be and do those two things, then by golly, a college degree is super helpful for you. But if you don't need a college degree to do those two things, well, then you probably don't need one. I mean, that's my big take. We can unpack that a little bit more, but I'm gonna let you react to that again, Jason.
Yeah, so I definitely agree with you, right? Hiring managers, we really do want two things, right? We want you to be productive, to be a member of our team and get things done day one. I'm hiring you because I've got a problem and you're my solution, right? That's what it comes down to. And then second is that passion for the job because our industry is changing so fast all of the time. Within 5 or 10 years, we're dealing with completely different technology than we were 5 or 10 years ago. I think back to when I ran my first company back in 99 through 2002. I had my first company doing IT and websites and network installations and things like that. And I was talking at my office here in Orlando. We were installing the networks yesterday, and the guys were telling me about, hey, we're running these things. And I'm like, yeah, back I used to do this 20 years ago. And the technology that we ran the networks with 20 years ago is not the technology we're using
Mhm.
today. We used to use things like, hey, there were cement walls and it was too hard to run the cables. So we would use, power we would use network over power lines
Yeah,
to be able to
yeah,
go
yeah.
from room to room at 2
Yep.
megs per second, right? And that was fast enough back in 1999, but today nobody would want a 2 meg network connection, right? So it's things like that change and you have to adapt with it. And that's one of the dangers of, in my opinion, of a college degree, and one of the reasons why certifications hold so much weight in our field, because a certification is good for 3 years and then you have to re-up it. Whereas a
Yeah.
degree is not, it's good forever.
Yep.
I got my first bachelor's degree back in 2005. And I will tell you that things are different today in 2022 than they were in 2005. I got my master's degree in IT and cybersecurity in 2011. And again, it's been 11 years and no one has come back and said, you need to re-up your master's degree. It's no longer valid, right? It's once you get it, you're valid, you're good.
Right. Right.
And so, that refresh cycle is important. And so when it comes to this degree, right, really what I find the value of the degree is what
Mhm.
you were exposed to during your degree program. It's what you learned while you were getting that degree. The paper itself to say, I have the degree is not nearly as important. That
Yeah.
said, some hiring managers really like seeing you have that degree because it tells them what? You can stick with it for 4 years, right? It's
Mhm.
something hard,
Mhm.
it's long, and you could finish what you start. And really,
Right.
that's more to the value of the degree than what you
Yeah.
learned, because what you learned in 5 years is going to be obsolete anyway.
Yeah. And I think I place I give credit. How about that? I will give credit where credit is due when somebody finishes a bachelor's degree or a master's degree because they are finishing something tough that they've started, right? No, like college is not compulsory. So, the fact that you have a college degree tells me you opted in and you did it and you saw it to the end. So credit where credit is due. And I agree with you that it's not so much what you learn in college in terms of like uh um subject matter. So for example, when you talk about old stuff, right? I learned COBOL
Me
in
too.
college, right? Uh, and these days, actually, if I wanted to become a COBOL programmer again, I could actually make a lot of money because they are in super, super short supply. I don't want to do that. But what I learned in college that has been invaluable to me, there's one thing, and that is I've learned how to learn. And I believe that ties right back to your point. Things change so much, so often. If you are in cybersecurity and you don't like learning new things, you are in big trouble.
Oh yeah, most definitely. I think this really goes back to, what is a degree going to do? It really can help you understand what you need to learn and expose you to a wide variety of things. I look at people who go get their computer science degree as an example, right? And they want to go become a coder. Great. My son, he's in high school right now and he's going to be graduating this year and he wants to go off and become a computer science major and he wants to be a programmer. I'm like, that's great. But just realize that whatever you learn in school is probably not what you're going to be doing when you get hired, because you're going to be learning C++, you're going to be learning Java. But you know what? Most people, that's not what they need you to code right now. They need you to do web apps. And so they want you to know Node.js or React or Next. And most things are done in some form of JavaScript these days
Yeah.
because JavaScript has become so popular as a web application framework. And really what you're learning in your 4-year degree is how to think and how to code, but not necessarily the syntax for that particular language, because
That's right.
I've looked at a lot of college curriculums and most of them aren't covering React and Node and Next or any of the web-based app frameworks that we use. They might give you a
Yeah.
little HTML and CSS, but then they really focus on like object-oriented programming, which is not what most people are using these days.
Yeah.